up, YouTube? Topaz Jace back for another daily review, and this one is to that Chris Brown, Pills and Automobiles, featuring Yo Gotti, featuring A Boogie with the Hoodie, and Kodak Black, man. And I'm giving this one the red light because honestly, it's not very good at all. This is overtly Chris Brown's attempt at trying to make music for this coming age of commercialized music. And you know, I ain't even all that mad about that, because when you in the game after your first album, you'll realize quickly that the record labels aren't trying to promote you like that anymore. And the best way for you to keep yourself notable in the game is to what? Make remixes of the new hot songs that's out, and making songs for the new generation of people and such that's out here buying music, so they'll continue to look at you so you can continue to have a career. In which it's a good business move, but I was hoping that Chris Brown, being as talented as he is, that he could go ahead and make this into something more than what this track is, which is nothing really. As the overall concept is, these individual people who are famous, that have some success in the music industry, they're ultimately talking about how they deal with women and the fame and all of that as they go, man. And honestly, the most disappointing thing is Chris Brown's verse, because he's a guy who can sing, but yet he threw on the auto-tune anyway. And I can kind of get it, because if you're trying to blend in with the commercialized music industry as it is now, having any shred of talent is going to make you stand out. And honestly, it won't be all that relatable, because that's exactly what they're going for. So he pretty much dumbed himself down in order to blend in with this generation, and that sucks, because he's that talented of an individual that he doesn't have to do that and still create great music. Now, all of the features and everybody is all along the same lines, which is rather surprising, because you hardly ever get that when you get a whole group of individuals on one particular track, as they're all talking about these women that they're dealing with. But Yo Gotti said something rather savage, but that was completely real, as this is what he said after he already talked about having sex with this particular woman so many times that it's becoming boring, and then she's gonna come up and ask him, what exactly are we? And he said that we just cordial. And you know, that was savage, but that's just real talk when you dealing with individuals that's in the game, that's famous like that, who have options. You can get away with doing such things. When a consistent sexual relationship can be considered as cordial, that's only because of the fame right there. Keep it 100. Now, A Boogie with the Hoodie's verse was rather interesting right there, where, you know, lyrically, he's really not saying anything, but yet he's by far the best with the flow and delivery right here, dude. So it evens itself out, even though I have very little interest in anything that he's doing, because the lyricism isn't there. And then Kodak Black has some moments lyrically, but you can tell he's running with the same formula, as he's done this in other songs as well, but yet he's using the same kind of formula. Like when he says that he's gonna change her whole sauce and make her spicier. And what annoyed me about that is how he said it, like, because he definitely wanted to fit that in, but yet it wasn't going to work if he said it in plain English. So he did like some broken English, and you know, for the most part, that does not work. Some cases it does, and this is just not that case. It comes off making him sound like he's retarded, to keep it 100 by saying it that way. But then he does the same exact thing when he's saying that he'll change up the whole wave. Now you're wavier, which that would make sense if they were very close to each other, but these are two separate sides of his entire verse. So you can tell he only got one kind of format when he's writing his lyrics, man, and that makes that very annoying. Put it all on top, some rather weak production, man. I can still see it be somewhat of a success for radio, but yet overall not a very good song, one that I would not recommend. But a quick recap here, man. The positives that I'm taking from this is the fact that I do believe it can work in the commercial industry, man. And the fact that each individual were all on the same note, and they all had their own things that you could point at and say that was kind of cool. But yet the negatives is, it's just not that good of a song. But this concludes today's review, man. And now we're going to jump into a brief instrumental from underground producer Force One before we jump into some of your questions. So Strange Guy says that I need to stop trying to look at Ray Shamard and have them be something that they're not, because this latest song is just them being super swaggy and making a commercialized song and all of that, man. And you know, it's all cool that they doing them and all of that. I ain't got nothing against that, but What do I want them to be? I want them to be serious about the craft. I want them to progress. I want them to get better as they go. I'm not wanting them to go ahead and become one of the greatest lyricists or anything out here. I want to see the forward progression. And if you can't understand that, man, then you're just pole jocking them for the fame that they have right now, in which you don't realize this fame is not going to last. So it makes more sense for them to continue to develop, continue to get better, so that when this fame begins to die down and the promotion tends to die down, that they'll have something to sit back on and actually continue to drop songs that people are going to really rock with and people are going to continue to buy, so they can have longevity and such, man. Like, you are crippling them by saying that, okay, this is just dope for them just to be doing it. They don't have to be any better than what they are. And 901 says that Yo Gotti with CMG is definitely building something right here. And you know, all of the artists that he got on his imprint, they all have this same kind of feel. The most notable ones are like NBA Youngboy, Moneybagg Yo, Black Youngster. Like, these individuals, they all bring like that same kind of essence that you can tell Yo Gotti is going for. And you know, that's all cool, but my thing is, when you look at the biggest and best record labels out there like Roc-A-Fella, they only got took to another level when they started branching out to other kinds of music. Like, Roc-A-Fella was only Jay-Z for quite some time. Not saying that Beanie Sigel and all of them didn't have their own skill set, that they weren't rather cool, man, but yet the thing that took Roc-A-Fella to that next level was Kanye West, who was on a different spectrum. And then when Roc-A-Fella morphed into Roc Nation and all that, in came Rihanna, which is a whole different side of the spectrum as well. Like, as a record label, your job is to sell music. You don't have to specialize in any brand of music, man. Like, look at what Interscope did on that Defiant ones. They had the top 4 albums on the Billboard chart at one time, and all of them was on separate different genres and such. With No Doubt, 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, and Death Row Records and such, man, all of these were really moving, and that's honestly what a record label is supposed to be, so you can have all of the money coming your way. You shouldn't really specialize, or you're going to limit your cap, but yet I see the direction that he's trying to go with it, and it may work. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there, and you can go to downloadpads.com, that's down there, to read today's article.